Hey everybody, how's everybody's week going? My name is Brett Okamoto. I am one of the lead reporters for ESPN on the UFC and MMA, all things MMA. If you haven't heard, it's kind of a big week for the sport and for the UFC. On ESPN, you can check out the first ESPN UFC card on ESPN Plus, main event. Henry Cejudo, the flyweight champion, defending his title against TJ Dillashaw, the bantamweight champion, who is actually dropping down in weight. Is something TJ Dillashaw has wanted to do for over a year now. He's going to get his opportunity on Saturday. At the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So we actually just got done with the weigh-in. I'm checking in from the ESPN Live Instagram account to answer some questions for you guys, tell you how the weigh-in went. So the morning weigh-in was this morning, and it was kind of a big deal because, as I mentioned, TJ Dillashaw moving down from 135 pounds, where he's the champion, to fight the 125-pound champion. TJ hadn't weighed 125 pounds since he was in high school. He's now in his young 30s. So a bit of a new experience for TJ, but I was with him last night. He was at a 24-hour fitness in Midtown Manhattan, running on a treadmill, sitting in a steam room, cutting weight for this championship fight, and he made it. Made weight, 124.8 pounds, I believe, this morning. And he will fight Henry Cejudo. Cejudo is an Olympic gold medal freestyle wrestler. You've probably seen him on ESPN platforms this week. Get Up, First Take, Sports Center. He's been on the media circuit, the media rounds up in Bristol, Connecticut. And he won the title by defeating Demetrius Johnson, who Demetrius Johnson had defended his title 10 times, UFC record for most consecutive title defenses prior to losing to Henry Cejudo in a very close decision in August. Very close decision in August of last year in Los Angeles. So if you guys have any questions about the fight week, please let me know. Some other things I should probably mention here. Greg Hardy in the co-main event. So the way this sport works is you have a main event. That's the headlining card. There's a headlining fight on the card, Henry Cejudo, TJ Dillashaw. Then you have a co-main event. Obviously that is give me 1 second. I need to confer on a technical issue here. Getting a lot of feedback, which is tremendous. This is the first time I'm running an ESPN Live Instagram, so bear with me here. Greg Hardy, as I was mentioning, former NFL player, kicked out of the NFL for some problems outside of the cage, or off the field, and now has transitioned into mixed martial arts. He's only been fighting professionally. It's going to show up here. It's only going to show up professionally. I'm sorry, he's only been fighting professionally since last year. Made his debut actually on the Dana White Contender Series, which is a series that allowed... Oh, hey.
What's up, buddy?
Look at this. I'm glad you came in, Dana, because that was very awkward. I was trying to talk myself and also add somebody to the page. I've never done this before, so I've never been so happy to see your face, man. That was getting awkward. How are you?
Yeah. Talking live by yourself is a little weird.
Yeah, especially when you don't really know how to run it.
Yeah. That doesn't help.
I can't believe it. Just 10 years ago, man, you were just this tiny little egg trying to make it in this world, and you grew up into the beautiful Dana White that we see before us.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited, man. You know, obviously, for a long time we fought to have ESPN cover us, and now we're on ESPN. So it's a big week.
Yeah, let people know what your fight week schedule is usually like, particularly for one like this. I mean, what are you doing all week?
This week it's a lot of PR. I mean, it's usually PR, but this week's even crazier. You know, the new partnership with ESPN has taken everything to a new level. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
What were your expectations with the launch? Like, what did you think? Okay, we signed this deal with ESPN. I want to see this on our first week.
Well, they've already exceeded my expectations. You know, these guys have acted like partners from the day we signed the deal. You know, the deal didn't go into effect till Jan 1, and these guys have been partners since the day we signed the deal. So it's been good. It's been fun.
Your favorite thing that's happened since the deal has been signed with ESPN? Look at that.
My favorite thing that's happened. I don't know if there's a favorite moment since the deal. It's been everything, you know, all the way from the top, from Disney to the top of ESPN. Everybody's been fantastic, man. These guys have acted like true partners.
Do you watch the weigh-ins, or do you just have somebody tell you if something's gone wrong at the weigh-ins this morning?
Yeah, no, they hit me up and just let me know that everybody's weighed in, everybody's made weight. And obviously, if somebody doesn't make weight, then we start trying to figure out what to do.
Were you nervous about this one at all? TJ Dillashaw moving down for the first time from 10 pounds up?
No, I'm not nervous at all. It's all good. It's you know, once we get in there, we're going to do what we always do. You know, I always say it with the bells and whistles, and then once that door shuts, it's up to the fighters. And, you know, these guys always deliver, so I'm good.
Good press conference yesterday. TJ, Henry, Alexander Hernandez wearing a pretty awesome sweater, I thought, and then Cowboy. And he's the press conferences and the stage are no big deal to him. He's been doing this for a long time. What were your just takeaways from what those guys were saying? You know, in the back, anything that you might have seen, stare downs. What'd you come away with?
Yeah, Alexander the Great talked a lot of trash yesterday that he's got to back up on Saturday against one of the baddest dudes to ever do it. You know, Cowboy Cerrone is not happy right now. He's fired up, and you know, he's usually so mellow and cool and doesn't talk trash, and you could tell that Hernandez got under his skin.
Yeah, you think that's a good thing for him? Are you getting a good vibe out of him?
I don't know. We'll see. You know, cool and calm Cowboy is a killer. Let's see what pissed off Cowboy is like.
You know, I went and saw Cowboy in Albuquerque, and he told me that, and everybody knows this, that sometimes when he asks you for fights, like he'll have a great performance, and then 2 weeks later he wants to fly to the other side of the world and do it again. And that occasionally he's taken some fights that have been, you know, I think not in his best interest. And then he said he called you and said, I'm done doing that. I want to go for the belt now. I'm at that point in my career where I want to go for the belt. Is that true? You remember that conversation?
Yeah, but the thing is with a guy like Cowboy Cerrone is he's a real fighter, man. This guy, literally anybody, anywhere, anytime. He'll fight back to back. He'll fight, you know, he's just a different type of fighter than everybody else is. He likes to fight.
Did I see that in addition to a new shirt that you had a new belt with you this morning?
Yeah, I got it right here. For those of you that haven't seen it, let me bring this bad boy in.
Okay. So tell me about it.
You know, we're going into a new era. And, you know, every several years you have to switch the belts up. And we've been working on this one for a while. And we figured now that we're going on to ESPN and we have this, you know, new 5-year deal, it was time for a new belt.
What are you looking for in a belt? How does one design a world championship belt in 2019?
So you go through a lot of different, you know, the artists come up with a lot of different renderings. You go through them all. You start to look at, you know, we wanted to change the old one. The old one, we wanted it to be less busy and more clean. We wanted to add all the, you know, we can't add all the countries, but a lot of the big countries that we have in the on the belt. And then this one will be customized for weight classes and the fighter's name.
Did you know that it already has one specific admirer?
Oh, and they're all numbered too. They're all numbered in the back and signed. So
what, with like the
there's
event?
A lot of different things about the belt that's completely different than anything we've ever done. And yes, I saw that there was a new admirer of the belt. I saw that.
Yeah, what'd you think? Conor McGregor, as soon as you put out on Twitter, we have a new belt, he writes back, okay, I'm back. So I guess that's all you need is to just make the belt a little fancier. Conor will fight again, huh?
It's one of the many things that I love about Conor McGregor, man. The belt means a lot to him, and being a world champion means everything to him.
Do you think it still does? You think it still does mean everything to him?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Because Stephen A. was talking to me, and he's like, is Conor still that guy that really wants to be a champion, or do you think he's lost some of his focus or lost some of his drive? And I said, yeah, maybe he's lost a little bit of it, and maybe a belt wouldn't mean as much to him as just picking whatever fights he wants. But you think being a champion still means something to him?
No, I disagree. Listen, you always have to, when you see when a guy starts to make crazy money, like life-changing money, and he's in one of these positions where he's not just making it when he fights, he's making it, in other businesses that he has going on right now. You find out what people are about, how passionate they are about what they do when the money comes. Conor and I still communicate, regularly, and he's very fired up about coming back and becoming a world champion again.
You say you talk to him regularly, like just a couple of text messages a day or a phone call a week?
No, not like that. That's my wife. I mean, I don't. We don't talk that much. Conor and I'll hit each other up once a month.
You still think, does he want Khabib? Is that what's on his mind?
He'll fight anybody. He obviously he would love the rematch with Khabib, but he'll fight anybody.
Where are you at with Greg Hardy, man? I mean, his 2 fights in the Contender Series were so. I mean, I always tell people that the atmosphere in fights is amazing when you're in the arena, but the Contender Series is just like, you get such an intimate look and you get such like a feel of how hard those strikes are landing. And Greg Hardy, like he stuck out to me. I mean, I think he stuck out to a lot of people, but me individually, being in that small gym, I mean, how excited are you to see him in a big arena, and what are you thinking about him moving forward?
Greg Hardy's coming out party is tomorrow night. You're going to find out he's fighting. Not that he didn't fight tough guys before, but he's fighting a real guy who also came off the Contender Series. And, one of the big things you have to worry about going into fights like this is the big stage. How is he going to react when he's, the lights are on, he's under the big stage. But Greg Hardy's a guy who's been on the big stage his whole career. So I don't know if that's going to affect him as much as it would affect, like, his opponent. His opponent's going to feel that tomorrow, too. His opponent isn't a guy who has, been under the big lights and the big stage and all the PR and the press and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting. And he hits so damn hard, it changes. When you punch as hard as he punches, it changes everything.
Well, it also doesn't look like he cares about getting hit. Sometimes you can take the greatest athlete in the world, but it's over on the first day because he just doesn't like to get hit. This guy doesn't seem like that bothers him.
True. And he's been hit with some big shots by some heavy punches, and he walks right through them.
Yeah. Well, man, I think I've got to let you go here pretty soon, but I've been trying to keep an eye on these questions as they come through. So let me just ask a few of the ones that keep popping up, it seems like. I see Diaz. I've seen Diaz a couple times. When's the last time you talked to Nate Diaz? And do you think he wants to fight anytime soon?
They don't want to fight. Neither one of the Diaz brothers want to fight.
Do you miss them? Would you like to see them fight?
It's up to them. You know what I mean? I always say in this business, if you don't want to fight, you shouldn't fight.
Yeah.
If you even consider retiring, you shouldn't fight. If you don't wake up every day and you're not fired up to get in there and fight, don't do it. So no, if the Diaz brothers were fired up and they wanted to fight and they wanted to get out there and whatever, absolutely, I'd be excited about it too. But if they're not excited, then no, they absolutely shouldn't.
How about the John Jones-Anthony Smith fight? And I got to be honest, a lot of people, the big talk after that, and it's always the big talk. It's always DC and Jones because they're always going back and forth with one another. They create that. But then you quickly moved on to Anthony Smith. Can you just talk about why Anthony Smith made sense and what about a potential trilogy? Yeah,
listen, the guy deserves it. Look where he's ranked. He's one of the top 3 ranked guys in the world, right? So how does he not deserve the fight? And this is the same thing that everybody said when Gustafsson got the shot at John Jones. Yeah. Everybody was negative about it, this fight, blah, 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 blah. That's it. We saw how that turned out.
So you feel like you've been getting a negative response? Because I guess I've seen some of that.
No,
but
I haven't gotten any negative responses because I don't read any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't read it. We continue to move on. John Jones is a guy that I want to keep busy right now. I want to keep this guy active. I want to keep him in the octagon. And believe me, when the time is right, and if everything lines up, we will see Jones versus Cormier again.
What do you think what do you think needs to happen for the timing? Because I think some people would say, well, the timing's already good. Why not? I mean, DC's the heavyweight champ. John's the light heavyweight champ. What are you waiting for? You know, what has to happen?
John Jones just had his first fight. Everybody was talking about how rusty he's going to be, this, that, and all the other things. You know, it's the right fight for John Jones right now. Keep John Jones busy. Plus, Cormier's hurt. Cormier's hurt right now. Cormier can't fight.
Any time frame on when he could come back?
I wanted Cormier to fight March 2nd. That's the date I wanted for Cormier. Cormier couldn't make that fight. John Jones is going to stay active. This guy's one of the top 3 ranked guys in the world. He just won a big fight. And, you know, you're always going to have people talking about, you know, everybody's an expert. Everybody's an expert. Let's see what happens when the fight goes down. We'll see what happens.
I mean, I'm an expert, Dana. I consider myself an expert.
Right. Of course you do. Everybody's an expert.
So you said DC not in March. March is April a possibility, or is it just completely up in the air? You have no idea with his injury right now.
With Cormier?
With Cormier.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when he's going to fight again or who he's going to fight. We'll see what's going on.
Brock, is he still in the picture? How does he fit into this?
Yeah, you know, Brock still wants to fight. Again, we'll see timing, how that works out.
What do you think about the Patriots going into Arrowhead and taking on the Chiefs and the NFL MVP on Sunday? What do you think of that game?
I'm excited about it, man. You know, it's a tough game. It's a tough game, especially, you know, like you said, going into Arrowhead. It's going to be like 27 degrees or 17 degrees or something at kickoff. And, you know, it's got all the makings of a great football game. So I'm excited about it, and I'm hoping the Patriots can pull this thing off.
You think about attending at all?
Think about what?
You think about attending at all?
No, that's too cold for me, man. No way.
Well, they got to have some suites or something at Arrowhead.
Oh, hell no. I can't do these freezing cold stadiums and whatever. I'm going to be sitting in my living room on my couch watching the game.
Well, man, it's been a lot of fun talking to you, especially on this week. I think the last thing I want to ask you about is when you look back on the history of the sport and you and the Fertittas getting involved in this thing and building it, you've had landmarks, you know, and I think you get this question a lot when you go to New York for the first time, or, you know, you were on Fox for the first time. Where does this landmark of seeing, you know, ESPN, you're all over the campus and you're all over the platforms, you're all over their biggest shows, you know, where does that rank for you personally in terms of just validation? It's
the biggest, man. It's the biggest. You don't get any bigger. If you're in a sport, you run a sport, you're in a sports league, there's nothing bigger than being with ESPN, you know, being on ESPN, being covered by ESPN. It's it, man. This is it. It's the top of the mountain. So I'm very excited about being here. I'm very excited about what ESPN brings to the table over the next 5 years, as far as coverage, new television shows that they're creating, you know, programming built around the fights and the sport. It's a great time for the sport. It's a great time for the UFC, and it's an incredible time for the athletes. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, thanks, bud. I appreciate
it. And the fans. I mean, what's better than, I mean, for the fans, and just to clarify something, because people can't seem to get it through their thick skulls, okay? We are live and free on ESPN, the network, tomorrow night with the prelims. The Donald Cerrone fight will be live and free on ESPN. Then you will switch over to ESPN Plus, okay? ESPN Plus for the main card. And I'm actually, for those of you that can't figure this out, I'm going to walk you through it. I have on my Instagram today, I'm putting up a whole thing to walk you through ESPN Plus and how it works, okay? And it's cheap. Come on, you cheapskates. It's $5 a month, okay? Everybody can afford $5 a month. It's like
That's perfect.
If you buy every single fight that's on ESPN Plus this year, it's $60. It costs $60 for one pay-per-view. Every fight that's on ESPN Plus this year, you will see for $60. Okay?
I mean, the main event of this weekend was originally on pay-per-view. You could literally say that if you had any interest in that fight, you could pay for the entire year of fights what you would have been paying to watch that one fight next weekend in Anaheim, because that's when it was originally scheduled before you put it on.
Exactly. And to see this fight tomorrow night on ESPN Plus, it's going to cost you $5. And that's for the whole month. You pay $5 for the whole month. Not just that fight, the whole month. And ESPN is coming up with a ton of original programming that you can watch about the sport. And if you're into other sports, they have every other sport on the planet on ESPN Plus.
I'm glad you did that, because once you hung up, I was probably going to have to lay all that myself. So thank you for taking some of that off.
Go to my Instagram. Go to my Instagram at 9 o'clock West Coast, 12 o'clock on the East. I'm posting. I'm walking you through how ESPN Plus works and how to do it.
Appreciate it, man. See you at ceremonial weigh-ins.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
All right. See you over there.
All right, buddy.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody.